What's up, everyone? Welcome to today's market recap and trade recap episode. Today is Monday, January the 12th, and as you can see, we took one trade pretty late in the session here, and it happened to work out pretty nicely. That being said, we may have had another opportunity to capture more longs, potentially capturing very similar to what we've already taken, but capturing it up till there as well. So, definitely something to really look out for. But with that being said, we didn't really have any news today, and essentially we're just trading how we typically do. Today was a really bullish kind of day, and we had that initial buys for multiple reasons, but essentially, if you take a look at the higher time frame volume profile, especially on NQ over here, hold on, let me unmark this. What you happen to notice is that our volume profile that's marked out, it all leads to us heading at least to this region around here. And if you zoom in a bit, we see that that region aligns with the region that we started to consolidate a lot with price, and really that initial target after the market opened longs on NQ. Essentially, price likes to transact a lot and be attracted to those areas in which a lot of volume can be transacted, and essentially from where we're sitting at right now, not only is the recent hold on, not only is the recent structure quite bullish, not only is the recent structure quite bullish, if you look on the probably 1 hour, right? If you look, it seems to be continuously quite bullish, even though it's quite bullish. More importantly, what we see is that the volume is bullish as well. I don't know why I marked this level 7112. But yeah, I mean, those are the things that made us pretty bullish for the day. Bullish structure, alongside the fact that there was simply volume that price would likely want to head towards. And with that, with these 830, with the buying pressure that we've got from 830, that really confirmed that, right? I mean, we can always have our biases for the day, but we want to see confirmation of those biases from that early market price action. Now, with that being said, I was on the market. I didn't really hop on the market late today, but I wasn't able to capture anything within these longs. No longs that I was able to capture here, but we were able to time this pretty nicely. This overall, if you look on the, let's go 30-minute, we were able to capture this 30-minute retracement back towards the upside, so that's pretty good. Alright, let's see here. Yeah, I mean, with that being said, let's dive straight into see if there's anything that we missed. Quickly go over the trade and conclude it. But essentially, also we didn't do our pre-week analysis for this week simply because we didn't really find the need for it, right? Today's trade recap can do most of that pre-week analysis. Like, I mean, of course, I can take a look at the news, but we will continue to do pre-week analysis moving forward. I just didn't have the time to do it yesterday as I was going in and out the home. As you see, tomorrow we have CPI. Wednesday we have PPI. Thursday we have unemployment claims. And Friday we don't have much. It's a pretty news-filled week, but yeah, and we had some Powell news as well. Something is like Powell is getting criminal charges or something like that. But yeah, let's not waste too much time here. Let's get into it. What we see right at market open is we see that these longs come in very quickly, right? We see this liquidity at 375, and we see that our icebergs are pretty bullish, right? And see that it looks like price wants to head high. Why? Well, not only have we broken this liquidity, but we're supporting it with urgency in buyer orders and continuation of these icebergs. Furthermore, there are targets towards the upside. I'm not too worried about deviation back to the high volume node, simply because we are seeing this buyer urgency followed by these icebergs. You can see it's pretty aggressive buying that comes in. You can see a lot of big buyers from the big buyers trade indicator on here on Addis. One second. Filters. No, not filters. Properties. There we go. Hopefully you guys, hopefully this, hold on. Hopefully this does a better job where my mic is the proper volume. Hello, 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 hello. Hello, 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 hello. 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 But essentially, alright, hold on. Hold on, hold on. Alright, this should do the job. This should do the job, I hope. Alright, but I mean, yeah, as you keep going forward, price is just breaking through these liquidity levels. We are getting deviated from the high volume node, but you'll soon see that we transact a lot of volume up there. So as the high volume node moves higher, price typically wants to stay around these areas that generate a lot of volume. So yeah, right now we are seeing a tad bit of a retracement here at this 830 candle. But still, typically we don't trade right at 830 anyways. So now it's the candle falling. We see that we break through this upper region and big buyer does that. And you can see this big buyer here on Bookmap as well. And what are we seeing? Well, I mean, we still are seeing that buyer urgency. So there's no real signal that I can enter off of here. Why? Well, there's liquidity preventing us from the upside. There's also liquidity preventing us from the downside. And I mean, we do have targets, but we're too close to these targets to get any meaningful spread. If you guys have watched the week review for this week, you'll see that that was a mistake that we're doing where we're taking inbound spreads that are opposite of what we're looking for. So we're looking to take more spreads that favor our trades instead of those that are unfavorable. And in this condition, it would be unfavorable. Thus, we would not take it. So moving forward, what we see is that we continue to break through this upper liquidity, but buyers are not showing much urgency anymore. Just something to be pointed out. Buyers can still continue to push higher. But this is what, 42, so it's in this candle. So in this candle, we continue to see this buying aggression, but within that, what do you see here? Very big buying here, very big buying here. This entire zone that I've marked out is essentially a key buying location. And I marked it out pretty broad simply because there does seem to be some seller absorption there and there that may wants to be interacted with. But looking at hindsight, it may have been better to do something like this. Hold on, like that, and then move this up. There we go. And then mark a separate one here within this. There we go. As you can see, we never really get a retracement back into any of these key levels. Buyers just continue to be strong and strong, break through these upper liquidity levels quite easily as such. And yeah, I mean, we just continue to break through and through these levels. So nothing really that we can take there. But now here at, as we take this high out right at 6995, here we start seeing some selling pressure occur. Now, now this is where I'm looking to see what price actually does. One thing I notice is that we are deviated from our high volume node. And if we do head downwards, where would we head downwards to? Potentially this region, 7, 8, which if you look down here seems to be in correspondence with this liquidity here. That being said, it's essentially the same size as this 6990 liquidity, so we're just watching carefully, seeing what actually provides that edge. Alright, if we saw a retracement into this level right here, or the level below, and then saw this type of absorption that we're seeing here, which I'll mark out for you guys, this type of absorption that we're seeing, then I would have happily entered long, but we did not get a retracement back into this region. And honestly, looking at hindsight, this may have been something we should have taken. But I'm trying to see if that was aligned with the barrier. So let's see. It's okay, it's nothing too significant, so it made sense why I did not enter. Say you did enter there though, then it would have worked out in hindsight, but honestly not the best signal. I won't even test that. And here's where things start to get interesting because we start seeing these big seller liquidity pull up onto the map. So with this, I was looking and looking, but again, we didn't find anything because this is when we started to chop. As you can see, and this spoof order, as you got close to it, disappeared, and that allowed for price to easily push up. And now we have this 7,000 liquidity, which we happen to take out here. We happen to take out that 7,000 liquidity there. And then we start this chopping behavior. And alright, so you see the 7,000 region, we tap into it. And I mean, make a small retracement, continue heading upwards. Take it out, make small retracement, continue heading upwards, and we have 1,000 contracts there. It's insanely significant. Alright, now we have this 1,000 contracts up there. Now, this is where things start to get interesting because they continue to move their orders up, potentially acting as a magnet to drive price higher. And as we start heading a tiny bit lower, we see that our high volume node actually jumps up with price, and you'll see this very soon there. So now our high volume node is aligned with where price is sitting at right now. And typically when that occurs, that's typically where you find your continuation or reversals, but we typically get some consolidation before it. And it can be a bit difficult. But we see some selling starts to splurge in, but we have this 116 region where sellers are, and we have lots of passive sellers. Just something to watch. Alright. Still looking through. And here the liquidity book is quite bare. There's not much to be seen here. So let's keep skipping through. And look how bare the liquidity book is. And I mean, at this point, 9, 10-ish, volume starts to reduce and gets super low around 925, sub 10K. But one thing is for sure, we're at high volume node, and our only really crazy significant liquidity seems to be towards the upside. I mean, we have this region at 8.7 to 7.5. Essentially, the blue areas that we marked out, those do stand as a barrier. So if we head lower, that's definitely a target. But at this point, it looks like we might drive higher, simply because this liquidity is so significant. But still, it's a waiting game here. There's not much we can see from this book map right here, as you can see. So, I mean, I'm gonna just skip through all of this very boring action to watch. Now here we are seeing some sort of seller urgency. Nothing I would really enter off of though. If you look at 930 here, we see that seller urgency and sellers attempt to pop in, and this is actually where we get our trade idea from, right? We see these sellers come in, but look, we drop down like such, and we see these sellers get absorbed on the 30-minute, right? We're seeing this seller absorption not once, not twice, but it's probably going to be 3 times. But 3 times. And you can start seeing this seller absorption occur here, right? Sellers are trying to push lower, but they're unable to. And we have more liquidity towards the upside. That being said, there's no buyer aggression yet for us to actually seek out these longs, right? I mean, we do have pretty good protection below that 992 region right here. So our downside is protected, and we do have that imbalanced spread in favor of our trade. So it is pretty good on our extent, and us seeing that absorption is good as well. But right now we need to wait for confirmation that those longs will come. And that confirmation will be through the introduction of aggressive buyers in the market. And I mean, you can see the seller absorption on the higher time frame as well. Just take a look here. You can clearly see this seller absorption right here. And even potentially here as well. But here it's pretty visible that we had this clear seller absorption and clearly drove this price movement upwards. Potentially didn't drive, but gave us an indicator that that was going to occur. Now, I have it on my charts, right? We had the text marked out as well. Hold on, right here. We said that we wanted to gauge these longs, but decided not to take it simply because of low volume. Yep, exactly. And we had a low signal other than that absorption that we found. We're seeing seller absorption, but no buyer aggression, and thus we are not in. And later we got in the longs because we saw that buyer aggression, and you'll see later that we had to adjust our take profit target. Because I think I'll show you guys right now it's around like 6.75. Like our OG take profit is around here, or better yet, it's around here. This is where our OG take profit is, so that's right around there. But we had to adjust it 6 down, as you'll see that this liquidity gets moved down. But we start seeing buying aggression start to pop in like such. And hold on, we enter 940. Interesting. 949. Yeah, I mean, we find our entry here when we see all this aggressive buying occur, right? Our sellers are still absorbed, and we start seeing very aggressive buying start to pull in, and our CVD is branching upwards now. And I mean, we're still sitting at this high volume node, but we're starting to branch out towards the upside. And if we see it, wait a minute, it might trip it at 7004. Yeah, when did my take profit get hit? 9:55. Yeah, right there. Okay, yeah. So it does make sense. Yeah. We saw our buyer aggression start to come in. After all these sellers were absorbed down here, we're protected by this 992.5 region, which is where we placed our stop loss. And yeah, I mean, that's basically asymmetric risk, protected downside, seller absorption followed by buyer aggression, clear liquidity towards the upside. We're in an upwards trend, bear bull flag type pattern. We don't really use patterns, but it just aligns. Bullish overall higher time frame structure and CVD shifting towards the upside. All good confluences for us to head upwards, and we start seeing this buying pressure come in, and it's coming in pretty strong as well. Before, our target was up here, but that got removed and this got introduced. Wait a minute, hold on. Aha. I mean, this is 150 and 160-ish, like, it's all iffy in my opinion, right? Because here we have a 185, here we have 160. I think we just left our take profit there. Hadn't even realized that this liquidity shifted down like such, but I mean, it did, and we pushed up there and broke through it and went to that 7005 region. And I mean, we simply got our take profit hit. But I mean, it's a pretty good trade in my opinion because of the sheer number of confluences. That being said, simply because of the such low volume that we've been seeing, 9K sub 10K volume per bar before like 10 a.m. That's insanely low. But it happened to work out because when we started to get volume, we got that signal that sellers were getting absorbed, and then buyers started to come in, and as volume started to ramp up, buyers pushed upwards, and our take profit was hit. Now, we do see that we do have potentially another retracement opportunity here. So that's what I'm going to look for, see if there's any opportunity there. Right here, I believe. Yeah, honestly, there would be no opportunity simply because although we tapped into this level, we still have the 7005 liquidity. So there's that. And with that being said, that's basically gonna be all I have here for today. Pretty low volume day. Nothing too interesting, nothing too entertaining. It's a simple day. We had one opportunity. I wouldn't say it's an A plus opportunity. More so B, low B's, high C's. But it happened to work out today because we stayed patient until we saw that correct signal, which we had protected risk to reward. So that's all I have here for today. If you have any questions, leave a comment down below or join the complete free Discord server, which is linked in the description down below. If you want to check out the order flow platforms that I'm using, Addis and Bookmap live streams, those are also linked. Addis, our channel partner, has a lot of free accessibility. definitely recommend you guys to check it out. But as always, do your own research, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. So I guess I'll see you guys then. Goodbye.